Hello, I'm Lawrence Otieno Uma, TED 127 stroke 18, and this is a summary of trip 1 on planning of industrial layout, on health and safety, and the technologies for manufacturing system. And to start with, the plant layout from the tasks performed, I learned on the factors that are considered and the factors which affect the planning of a layout of a plant and of an industry. What is considered in putting an industry, and which type of layouts are there that are being used currently in the industries. And to start with, there are several factors that are considered when planning a layout and when considering a certain plant layout and designing of a layout. First is the space. We have to know the space that we are having. It will greatly affect the type and the design of the plant that we have. The planning of the designing of the layout, we need to consider the space that it will consume. Then secondly, we need to have the resources that are there. Which type of resources are there? The available resources which are there. If at all the resources can be used independently, then a larger and extensive layout is considered. But if at all the resources that are be used are limited and are to be maximized, which is the case for almost all industries and every plant, then we need to have a more compacted layout. Then we need to have the technologies that are used in the layout, the floor plan, the foundation that we are having. It must be strong, and the duration of the plant, so that a lifelong plant that is to function for an extended period of time need to have a stronger foundation compared to some temporary plants that are laid depending on the resources that are there, because resources greatly affect placing of a company in a given place, or structuring a plant. Then we also need to consider the flow, the type of flow that is there in a company. When we need to have a more systematic and one after the other, a comprehensive that which follows the other, one step following the other, another step following the other. Step one depends the step two depending on step one. We need to have a more compacted and a definite layout, so that no process is interrupted in the course of manufacturing, so that we don't waste a lot of resources and labor in the production, because we need to have reduced expenditure and reduced energy in the process of production. It should also accommodate expansion. If at all there's need of expansion, the layout should accommodate expansion and adjustments, because technologies are coming, more need, the company might expand in terms of need, and the level of performance has increased. Therefore, the production or the type of layout that we are using should accommodate a larger and extensive extension of the company. The layout should also enhance ease in the supervision, because the production has to be supervised. The labor has to be supervised. The laborers have to be supervised. Different stages of production have to be supervised to ensure that at given stage only a required unit of production is going on. Therefore, a layout should allow supervision, ease in the supervision, and ease in the expansion in case need arises. Then secondly, on the health and safety of the individual, we are talking about the health, and we are talking about the reduced risk or reduced exposure of risk of the individual that is carrying out the activities in an industry. An individual has the right of being safe in a working environment, in a working place. They need to be safe. They need to have a safe working environment. Therefore, we need to put considerations in a company to ensure the health and safety of individuals within the within the working environment and within the plant. So an individual should ensure his safety and the safety of those who are working around him, so that no activity of an individual person will affect the activity of other, or the safety or the health of the co-workers within the environment or within the plant. Then secondly, there is how do we ensure maximized safety? How do we ensure maximized health within the plant or within the industry or within the working environment? Because there are a lot of resources, there are a lot of machines, there are a lot of operations, but all in these, only humans should be able to operate safely within them. One of them is that every individual should be trained, sufficient training of the individuals on how to operate the machines, on how to handle the machines. This is to reduce the accidental operations or the accidents that are caused by ignorance or the lack of know-how to operations. Then secondly, the machines should be repaired regularly. They should be repaired regularly so that accidents caused by sudden breakdown or sudden failures should be minimized. Oiling, lubricating, tightening of the screws, cleaning should be done regularly to reduce accident. Then the labels, machines that are not in use should be labeled not in use, so that no faulty machines is put in use, because there might be naked cables, naked wires, or those meeting that can expose the individual or the operator to hazards, to health hazards, the biological hazards or the physical hazards of the individual. So we have the purposes. Why do we ensure the safety of individual? We have moral purposes, we have economical purposes, we have the social purposes. It is a mandate of the company or of the individual to ensure the safety of the individuals that are involved. Then for moral value or for economical value, when individuals are exposed more to hazards or to dangers, or are not safe, are less likely to escape out of or are working under tensed environment or under fear of their health, then the level of production is reduced, the general morale of the individuals are reduced. So we need to ensure maximized safety of the personnel who are handling the machinery. We need to ensure tidiness of the areas we are, or we need to ensure safety, avoid carelessness and the spillings, because it is the moral responsibility of every individual to ensure maximized safety of the working environment. Avoid spillings, avoid carelessness of pens and of equipment or of machines, avoid walkways. Walkways should be free to avoid careless accidents. We should also use right machinery for the right purposes, so that for climbing up we need to use a ladder, an appropriate ladder. For lifting an object, we need to take the right procedures in lifting those objects to minimize the accident. Then also in the production, the layout, in the layout should ensure safety of the individuals. There should be safety of the individual first. Safety first in every production. Safety first, because the other procedures can be undertaken by the other individuals, but the individual who is operating can never be replaced by some other things. So lastly, on the technology used in manufacturing, you have the numerical control, the numerical production control, where in the early times or in the olden times or the initial times, there were the manual operations. If at all we have drilling, we have to have manual driller or the manual drilling of the using the hand drill. We need to have manual sharpening. We need to have manual cutting, manual pitching, manual everything. But there was a way that was come up with, so that we just program the computers. We have a program that will be can be effectively interpreted by the machines to perform the task. This is in a case where we have maybe a risky environment, or we need to have a mass production. In this case, we need to have an automation of the systems, so that we have an automated system. We just switch, and then it signals the entire system, then it activates certain operations, and then if at all it is cutting, we have mass cutting, we have mass production of the equipments and the materials. And in this case, we have a reduced and minimized cost of production. We have a more increased production output. So a lot of technology have been included in the modern production, in the modern ways manufacturing, so that we just input data, the diameters, the length of production, and maybe the size of production, and then the entire system interprets the logics from the programming languages, from the set of instructions, and then the operations continues and carries on the entire system, and is commonly used in the large companies. Thank you.